Hey y'all, my name's Seth Packan, and this is Podunk Perspective, a podcast based on the Podunk Perspective. Podunk Perspective, we got my man Justin Schools in the house. How we doing?
Man, never better.
So you were telling me you were just getting done with your taxes beforehand?
Yeah, running a little behind today. You know, we like to live life on the edge and live on the last minute. So
We got 5 days, bro.
I know taxes are due 5 days. That's 5 days to do them. You know,
rough. You came in and you're rocking these wonderful Lucchese's. You put some work on them. You were showing the bottom of the other heel.
So they're a little uneven. This one, the heel is a little worn compared to that one.
And I see you got a little, what's this little saying here?
Yeah, so this one says shoot straight on the inside of the heel, and then this one says drive fast. So drive fast and shoot straight.
Why'd you put that on there?
I believe alcohol was involved on that one. I think that was the only reason, and it sounded cool.
How'd you do it? Was it
with a tattoo gun that I got from Amazon.
Do you have a tattoo?
I do not. I have no tattoos.
Oh, but you give
But I
tattoos?
have given tattoos. So if anybody needs any tattoos,
so you're not just a artist; you're a tattoo artist.
Exactly.
Wow.
You know,
what's the craziest tattoo you've given?
probably some butt tattoos. I've given a couple smiley faces on butt cheeks. A couple buddies of mine. Alcohol was involved in that too.
Yeah. No, but seriously though, you're an artist in town. You put out some good music recently. Some of my favorite music that I choose to turn on and listen to throughout the day. Tell us about the process of you putting out these few songs the last few months.
Yeah, so it's been fun to be able to put music out. When I moved to Nashville, it was never, I didn't really care to be the artist or whatever. I just enjoyed writing music and hanging out and, not having the extra social media stuff to do and all that stuff because that's not really my cup of tea. But
are you sure about that?
Gosh, yeah, absolutely. As much as it may seem otherwise, yeah, I can't stand it. But it's just the things we have to do.
No, what made you get into music?
Girls. Ladies love the music. They love a guy who can play guitar, and so I taught myself to play guitar in like 8th grade, I think. Yeah. I'd come home from football practice and just grind it out, and it took about 4 weeks, and I was playing in church. Right. I'd go and I played with the worship team at my hometown church in Nashville, Georgia. I played there for probably 7 years.
Yeah.
All throughout school and into my college days in Valdosta. But yeah, I think girls was like the main reason why I started playing. I was like, yeah, the ladies like that.
And were you always interested in country music?
Yeah, always was. I mean, I grew up listening to everything really, but country was always, what I went back to, yeah.
Were like your parents pushing you to do music and stuff, or was it something you picked up on your own?
No, I kind of picked it up on my own. I had a few members of my family who played guitar in their past and had some bands and whatnot, but it was just kind of a thing I picked up on my own one day.
Yeah, but you've liked the songwriting part of it, most likely.
Yeah, the songwriting part of it didn't even come until after I had finished college, not graduated college, but me and a buddy of mine, we went up. It was spring break, and we went up. My grandpa has a cabin in North Georgia, and so we went up there for spring break. Just me and this one other guy, and kind of an awkward spring break, just me and one other guy. But we went up to North Georgia, and we're up there hanging out. We thought we were the coolest things in the world. We were up there sneaking moonshine and whatever. and we sat down one day, and I wrote this song, and it was, looking back, it was a pretty bad song, but it was the first song I ever wrote. And I'd broken up with this girl a few years prior and just always kind of thought about it and sat down and wrote this sad song. And as I'm sure most people's first songs are, is about a girl. Yeah. So, but yeah, I did that. It was the first one.
Hey, you got to start somewhere, right?
That's right. So
leads you now into these few songs you've had the last few months. what's the big change into like when you first started, songwriting into now and becoming the artist,
I think more so, when you go into a room, some guys are like, all right, who are we writing for? We want to write for you. We want to write for another artist.
Yeah.
We just want to get a good song. And I'm always like, hey, let's get a good song, or let's try to write to somebody else's style. And I think nowadays it's like, all right, man, what do you need? What do you need? What kind of songs do you need? I'm like, man, I don't know. Let's just get a great song. And we'll see what happens. Yeah. But it's fun, man. It's a different perspective looking at it from the artist side versus just the writer side.
Right.
I feel like. But it's cool, man. It's been fun.
So when you go into these rooms and stuff, what's your main goal? Like, are you trying to write like a love song? Are you trying to write like a hype country song? Like, what's the goal?
I think it just depends on what the day is.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the weather has a bunch to do with it for me. Like if I walk outside and it's raining or something, I'm just like, man.
So you're writing based on your mood?
Yeah, pretty much. Just whatever I feel, whatever the room is like. If we come in, everybody's excited in the room. It's like, all right, let's write something cool. Let's write something badass.
So you said you got into music maybe because of girls and stuff. Do you write a lot about girls and stuff?
I told somebody something one time, and I said, I don't think you can have a country song without a girl in it. I mean, if you look at it, there's a lot of songs without or that have a girl in it. I would probably say 99.9% of them.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, it's either I love him or I hate him.
Yeah.
Type thing, right?
Yeah. And it's like, or, hey, let's all go out and get drunk. And then what happens when you get drunk? You're going to call the girl up.
Cause trouble.
Yep, you're going to cause trouble. We all know what that is.
Oh, yeah. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So who are some like influences you grew up on, that maybe you would say even your writing or artistry kind of
This is one of my favorite questions.
Yeah, let's hear it.
It used to not be, and now it is.
Yeah.
Just because when I give the answer, everybody's like, dude, what? But I would say Luke Bryan is one of my biggest influences. I love some Luke Bryan.
I love it.
I grew up on it. I feel like I lived it, all his songs. And that's just...
And he's a Georgia boy, too.
Yeah, he's a Georgia boy, too.
That's so cool.
Yeah, people give me hell about that, but...
Well, I feel like, knowing you as a friend as well, I feel like your personalities are very similar. I feel like y'all can get up on stage and sing a good country song, but shake some ass, too, at the same time.
I've done it. Yeah, it's one thing to, like, get up there, and I'm guilty of this, too, get up on stage and, like, worry about things and, like, think too much. And I feel like, you can get up there and have you a couple drinks and just kind of have fun with it.
Yeah.
And that's probably the best way to go about it. And
Luke
is the best to do it.
Absolutely. And I feel like, a lot of people, a lot of artists will get shit for being drunk on stage and shit, but he's the one artist that can always get away with it.
Always.
Because all his fans are signing up for it, know? If you're going to a Luke Bryan show, he's going to be having a good time on stage.
Oh, absolutely. His face is redder than a tomato up there.
Yeah.
And you can see it. But that's Luke.
Yeah. Would you say he's one of your favorite artists?
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and Randy Travis and Alan Jackson, and I grew up listening to a lot of The Fray. Yeah. Love The Fray. Yeah. That's a little bit outside of country, but not too far out. But that's one of my favorite bands.
Are you a big Justin Bieber fan?
Oh, dude, I used to know all the words to the My World CD. All the words.
Could you do if all else fails, you do a Justin Bieber cover band, make it country?
Probably could. Probably could try. Go down trying.
Right? I mean, anything happens here in Nashville.
I've seen it all, I feel like.
Yeah. You've, being close to Broadway and everything, what's some of the craziest shit you've seen on Broadway? Because, you've played a few gigs down there a few times, right?
Yeah, every now and then I would go down there and sit in on, some acoustic sets with some buddies or something like that. That's about all I ever did down there. I don't know. I feel like I've been a part of more crazy shit down there than I've seen. And I have to go back and look at Snapchat memories or something the next day. I don't know. I really can't even remember. Or probably don't need to remember.
You probably don't need to remember. That's probably good.
I used to go down to Broadway a pretty good bit whenever it was my first year in town.
Yeah.
You know, I was a rat down there, and
Mm-hmm.
when I first moved to town, my very first job was driving the tractor party wagons in town.
No way.
Oh yeah.
How fun was that?
Oh, it was the best.
You see all the bachelorette parties and
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh yeah. And I'd put out 2 songs right before I moved to Nashville, and it was like, you know, I don't really know why I did it, but I did. And I'd made friends with the bartenders that were on the wagon. So they were on the actual wagon, and I was up front driving the tractor. So I wasn't really on the wagon. And so the bartenders would like plug me, and they were like, hey, the driver's a country singer and all this stuff like that. And so she would play the songs on the wagon over the speakers, and I'd hear it, and I would just know I'm about to get tipped.
Yeah.
Tipped and asked to go downtown and, you know, all this stuff. And we would always stop halfway through the trip at a gas station to let people get drinks or whatever. And that's when it would start. They would all, oh my gosh, can we get a picture? Can we? All this stuff. And you got to go out with us tonight. And I was like, well, you know, I don't know. Because you got to play hard to get
Yeah,
first.
right, exactly.
It's all a game. But anyway, so after the ride was over, we'd get back to the store or whatever, the base where we were.
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh, can we get your number? Can we get all this stuff? We want you to go downtown with us later tonight. And I was like, well, I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see how much I get tipped out today. You know,
A little busy tonight.
yeah. Well, dude, it would be. I would spend so many nights on Broadway just because of that. Because I'd go down and people would buy my drinks, and
Right.
I'd just stay out and
Hard
party.
not to, right?
Yeah,
They're
it's hard
like,
not to.
Hey, we'll give you a free night on Broadway.
Hey, free night on Broadway that's a treat.
Yeah, bro. I've gotten a few of those, luckily enough. And at night, you don't remember half of it.
That's the truth.
Dude, and yeah, shit. Sometimes you don't know what people put in your drinks down there.
Yeah, I don't know. I probably had that, and I probably didn't mind it.
Yeah, honestly. No roofies. No roofies.
Yeah, we don't do that. I've never done that. Honest to God.
I mean, I've never heard of anyone really roofing themselves
Yeah,
on purpose.
yeah. I kind of always like wondered how that would feel though.
I think it just like lights out. Like you go from like conscious to unconscious.
Yeah,
Like,
that's probably right. I don't know if we can talk about that on here or not, but yeah.
well, how's it feel?
Let us know.
Chat. In the chat. No, but seriously though, I don't know. I've heard recently that there's been a lot of fucking complaints about, you know, roofing on Broadway and stuff. So people be careful.
Yeah, apparently it's gotten pretty bad around town.
But yeah, no, like what you said, you go down to Broadway all the time your first year, and I made that same mistake and really wore out my Broadway experience. To now I barely ever go down to Broadway.
Yeah, you won't find me down there.
Yeah, it takes a lot. It takes a free show, free drinks, free food. That's the only way you'll get me down to Broadway.
Yeah. Yep, it's got to be significant.
Right. So, you moved to Nashville when?
December 4th of 2021.
You love it?
No. No, I don't, to be honest with you. I don't like the city.
Yeah.
And I think that's all it is for me.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't like the city. I grew up in the country, and the city is a whole lot different than
Do
that.
you find it harder to deal with people out here?
Yes. There's a lot of nice people around town. There's a lot of good people. But there's a lot of people that are moving into Tennessee, moving into Nashville, that are all a bunch of assholes.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're not polite. They're not Southern people. They're not polite. And so, you know, this is just getting more difficult. Traffic's getting worse and worse by the day.
Yeah.
You know, it's just aggravating.
Yeah.
It's like from 2 o'clock to 6:30 during any day of the week, you can't go anywhere. Or it's going to take you an hour to get somewhere.
It's crazy. Yeah, I live, you know, when there's no traffic, I live 5 minutes from work. When there is traffic, it could be 25 to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, it's just a few lights that way.
Yeah.
Keep going.
It's crazy. I think I'm going to buy a bicycle.
Dude, honestly. Or my coworker, he rides one of those one wheels or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the little skateboard with the wheel in between your
Dude, I would
feet.
bust my ass.
He wears it in, he drives it in cowboy boots and a hat. I'm like, damn, that's impressive.
That's pretty cool.
He looks like a It looks a little special driving down, but you know.
Well, that'd probably be me.
So when you first moved to Nashville, was it straight into music, or was it, you know, like you picked up another job somewhere and you had to kind of work your way into the industry?
Yeah, so I feel like when I first moved here, which I had a great roommate, Brian Fuller. He was, you know, he's a good buddy of mine, and he kind of helped point me in the direction and introduced me to a bunch of people. And I felt like the biggest thing when moving to town was just trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
It's like all right, I'm here. Where'd I go? Somebody show me.
Red Door.
Yeah, and that's right. It's like, all right, everybody meet up at Red Door. But yeah, I moved to town and I started that job with the Party Wagon company. Yeah. But I was, the first couple months, I was between Nashville and back home like twice a month. I mean, that's a 500-mile drive.
Yeah.
And doing it twice a month just because I didn't enjoy the first few months.
You were living on someone's farm or something like that, right?
Yeah, my second year in Nashville, second like year and a half.
Yeah.
I was out. Another songwriter, he had a farm out in Bellevue, and so I lived out there, and in the top of his barn for a year and a half, and you know traded out rent for working his property and keeping it, all his horses and all that stuff, and you know, and honestly, I enjoyed that. That was nice.
Was it something you were trained to, like back in Georgia, like you knew, like to do that stuff?
I pretty much knew how to do everything. I had never really spent a ton of time with horses, but I knew enough to get by with them. Yeah. So, but yeah, that was nice out there, and I really appreciate, you know, what he did for me with putting me up out there. Cause, I mean, like I said, he's a writer, and he knows how it is first moving to town and being, you know, ass broke out here and trying to survive. So,
yeah. So after, like, what was the next stage after that? You moved out of there, and then
moved out of there and moved kind of closer into town, and I'm still there right now in that same spot, which closer into town still sucks.
Yeah,
but yeah, I've been in that place for about a year and a half now. I've only been in town for 3.5 years, so I don't know. I've been in this one place ever since.
Yeah, it's a love-hate relationship, you know?
It is. It truly is a love-hate with this town because, you know, you love it and you love being a part of the scene and all that good stuff. And then you hit traffic and it's like, man, to hell with this place.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and, you know, that's just like the slightest example. I feel like, you know, I go through my months where I love the city, you know, love everything that's going on, love what I got going on, love what I see, you know, other people around me got going on. And then there's other months I'm like, get me out of here. Like, this place is annoying as hell.
Yep.
Y'all girls are annoying as hell. Like, fucking, you know, it's just, it's funny, you know. But at the same time, you know, I'm very grateful to be able to say, you know, I live here and do stuff here. You know, it's sweet. What's your perspective? Are you grateful on living in Nashville?
I am, and you know, anytime I pray every night, I thank God, you know, for the opportunity to be where I am and get to do what I get to do, because I always remind myself I could be digging ditches somewhere, and that's not fun because I've dug ditches before. But yeah, I'm super grateful for every opportunity presented to me from whoever it is, you know, whether you know I'm still on a great page with that person or whether we're not, you know, talking anymore. I appreciate everybody I've come in contact with. You know,
and I feel like that's such a mature response, especially for living in Nashville, because, you know, you go through these seasons of life where, like, you know, I like my time I had with you. I hate how it ended, but shit, you know, like, looking back on it, I'm willing to move on, throw it. You know, if I see you at a bar down the road, I'm definitely going to dab you up, say hi, but, you know, I don't want to cause, you know, anything else, like, or make it more than that, you know. It's a funny industry to live in or work in, necessarily, just because it's like everything is constantly changing, you know, who you're working with, who you're friends with, you know, and it's not like, you know, it's always bad feelings. It's just, you know, like, all of a sudden you went with this camp for a little bit and you've been so busy and you haven't had a chance to talk to, you know, Joe in forever, you know. Yeah. It's why, and especially you, I feel like you get it. You've been out, you know, you go out, you're very good at making connections and stuff and meeting people and showing face. And, you know, it's like, it's funny how you can walk into a bar one day and, you know, this guy's shaking your hand, and then the next day you see that guy in the same bar or another bar and he acts like he doesn't know you. You know, I feel like it's a weird thing down here in Nashville that like is common, but as you get more comfortable and the years go on, the more you're here, I feel like it just becomes a little bit easier being like, screw that guy, I'm going to go out and say hi to him just because, you know, he doesn't want to say hi to me. You know?
I love doing that too. You know, if I know somebody's like avoiding me or something like that, I go up and give them a hug or something like that. Just, I think it's funny.
Yeah.
And I'm a little petty like that, just a little bit.
Well, it's just like, hey, this is my opportunity to like, I'm welcoming, like I'm trying to make you feel comfortable too. You know, it's like, it's a little bit of it is pettiness, but you know, like, you know, like, hey dude, like we're cool. I'm cool. Like we don't have to be, you know, chill. It's all these egos coming about. Do you feel like you run into a lot of egos?
Dude, there's more ego in this town than I've ever seen in my entire life. And I can't say that I'm not guilty of it because I feel like I've probably done it multiple times too. Yeah. But there's so much ego. And, you know, you get a bunch of writers in a room and it's like, oh, you know, whose dick is bigger in here kind of thing sometimes. But it's funny. I mean, and it makes for good competition too, really. And it's always like, you know, everybody's always like, yeah, you know, this is the kind of town where everybody's got everybody's back, and like, you know, I want to help you get to where you want to be, and then like it's like when you need some help, nobody's there. It's like, oh, you know, I don't know.
I had some help.
Yeah, no, it's a funny thing. It really is.
It's a funny thing. No, it's well, especially like even like some of your best friends, right? Like some of your best friends can have the biggest egos and you support them and stuff, but just the way you carry yourself, it's okay to have a little bit of an ego, but you know, it's the way that you use that ego. You know, I feel like it really shows a lot as a person who you are. But you know, in country music, a lot of people that work in it, there's like no bullshit, but at the same time, there is a lot of bullshit with all this new influence coming in.
Yeah.
What's your perspective on the pop, the rap, the Beyonce, the Post Malone influence, all of it?
Dude, I think it's, you know, I saw a quote today from John Party on the internet, and I feel like that's where you got that question from, and I feel like he really said it best. You know, there's all these other, you know, I don't want to say genres, but other styles of country coming in together. And I think it's a cool thing. I mean, I grew up listening to rap. I grew up listening to country. I grew up listening to old country, you know, Christian, all the music. And it's just kind of all coming together. And I think it's cool. And it's like, you know, say if somebody says, oh, well, I don't like country, I listen to rap. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, well, here's Morgan Wallen, try this out. And they're like, oh, you know, that shit's kind of fire. And it's like, oh, well, that's country music now. Yeah. There's something for everybody now. Yeah. And it's a cool thing. It's bringing everybody together.
What was like your parents listening to when you were growing up? Like, was it country? Like, was it pretty much country, or was it a little mixture of everything?
A little mixture of everything, really. I mean, Mama, she's always got K-Love on her radio. She's always listening to Christian music, or if it's not that, it's like, you know, 80s or 90s. Yeah. You know, rock or something like that. And then Daddy, he's always listening to country. He's gotten into Apple Radio now. Oh. So he's figuring that out. And he dials it up on his phone, and he's like, man, I'm listening to this Morgan Wallen radio, and it's pretty good stuff. So it's funny. But Daddy always used to listen to, there was a radio station, it was a rock station on the radio, and he had this little white Ford Ranger, and it was Rock 108. And that was always, you know, in his truck coming home from work or something like that, or whether it was that or, you know, the radio stations, country stations back home. So just a little bit of everything, really.
What part of Georgia are you from?
As far south as you can go. Yeah. So
Florida Georgia line?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So I tell everybody I'm from right around Valdosta, Georgia.
Yeah.
But I'm really just north of there from Ray City, Georgia.
Do you love it there?
Love it. Yeah, love it.
Is it one of the coolest towns? Like,
No, there's just nothing there.
yeah.
I mean,
No, I don't know. Like, that's how I am. Like, I always say, like, you know, but I'm biased, right? Because it's my hometown. But I'm like, my hometown is one of the coolest places on this earth. You know, like, I go back there. Like, I didn't appreciate it necessarily as much living there. But now that I don't live there, I'm like, I love this place. I love going back. I love going and seeing all the local spots, you know, stopping by the pizza place, stopping by the gas station, you know, driving by the high school just because, you know, the whole thing. Do you go home and do the same?
Yeah, I'll do the same things, man. And it's cool, like, going by these places and, like, these little restaurants that, like, you know, guys that I played ball with coming up, like, their parents run it, and they're like, oh, my gosh, how's everything going, all this stuff. And my mom teaches at the high school in town, and I'll go and, like, I'll bring her lunch or something like that, and, you know, see all my old teachers, and it's the same thing. I just kind of feel like a local celebrity sometimes. But it's pretty cool. And it's like, so where I'm from, there's nothing, literally nothing. So everything I did, I went to school in another county. I went to church in another county. And then went to college in another county, 30 minutes up the road, and, you know, worked right around the house. So, like, everything I did is from a different town. So I kind of feel like there's no real hometown, but everywhere around me was a hometown.
That's a song right there. But also, I feel like you probably made, like, a lot of friends that way. Because, like, you had friends from every county, probably, you know. Were you singing in church and stuff? And doing that? Yeah,
singing in church. And so, you know, that's one county, made friends with. I played rec ball in that same county as I went to church. You know, went to school in the school system my entire life in this other county. So I had that whole county made friends with, you know, played ball, school ball there and all that stuff. I mean, it was just, there's people all over that I knew.
Yeah. My parents were teachers, but they were like at the county over. I didn't go to the same, like, school district as them, but they were at the district over. Did you like going to the same, like, school as like where your mom worked in?
Yeah, I think it was fine. I think I got away with more than, you know, what any normal student
I was always worried about that, but then I realized that. I got to high school and I was like, dude, if my mom, I could get away with so much shit if my mom worked there, bro.
But the thing is if you get caught, then you get in double the trouble.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the first time we had ISS, in school suspension, and the first time I was in 6th grade, ever got in big trouble was, like, middle school on.
Yeah.
And we had a substitute, and her name was Miss Griffin, and we called her Miss Goggles because she had just these massive glasses. And, you know, looking back, she was a sweet lady, and we gave her hell. But
it was you. I can tell you. You were definitely the class con. You were flicking erasers across the room and shit.
Well, most of the time, yes. But this particular day, I actually was not doing anything wrong, and I had a legit question. And I raised my hand, and she was already pissed. And she was like, you go to ISS right now. And I was like, what? Like, I actually was so clueless. And so I went, and one of my coaches was in there, and one of my coaches actually played football for my grandpa at another county, and so he was the same age as my mom, so they knew each other very well. And so he said, what are you doing in here? And I was like, I couldn't tell you.
Beats me.
Yeah. And he was like, go sit down. Your mama know you in here? And I was like, probably not. No, sir. He was like, okay. Picks up the phone, calls her. He hangs up. He says, hey, go to the office. And so I went to the office, and my mom was in there waiting, and she said, you are something else. And so I got paddled there.
Woo!
Then got sent back to ISS, and then got paddled at the house too. So, yeah, all for just trying to ask about the work and actually not doing anything.
What year was this, the paddle, bro?
I'm telling you, dude.
What year was this, bro?
I still think they might do the paddling back there.
Damn, that's wild, bro. I thought politics.
I think you have to, like, sign permission or something like that.
I thought politics ruined that shit. More fucking kids need the paddle nowadays.
I'm telling you, dude.
More kids our age need the fucking paddle.
Yeah. Yeah, the kids nowadays are something else, man. I don't know what to say about that.
Wild,
They would have
bro.
never lasted in our grade.
Dude, and it's so, and obviously we hear our parents say this shit, so we sound stupid, but it's true.
Yeah.
It's so true, man. It's
Yeah.
tough. That's so funny. So was your mom like always like popping into your classrooms and shit? Like,
Not really, no.
no.
And it's funny. My mom taught computers. She
Okay.
taught business and all that stuff. And I never took her class because I didn't want to take my mom's class.
Yeah.
And now I have no clue how to work computers at all.
I remember in middle school, I took a computer class and they put like these covers over your keyboards.
So you couldn't
So
see how
yeah,
to
you
type.
couldn't see what you were
Yeah.
typing. And, bro, I was so bad. I would cheat and shit. But listen, if I look at the keyboard, I'm a quick typer, bro, and everything will be perfect. But get me on a phone, I can go like this, look away, and just text like it's no
Yeah.
problem. It just
It must be nice. I cannot do that.
yeah.
Even on my phone, I misspell words all the time. And there's spell check. And it's still wrong.
Well, it's not just because you're slang. You're like
Probably, yeah. That's probably a good point, yeah.
a little bit. So back home in Georgia, are there any cool spots you like to play? Like you'll pop in and play some music at?
Dude, it's a crazy thing. In South Georgia, there are no more true venues to play music.
Yeah, none.
None. There
Damn.
used to be some bars that we'd play. There used to be like some official tour stop spots in Valdosta and then Tifton, Georgia, which is 45 minutes up the road.
Yeah.
And those spots are not there anymore.
Damn.
And there's no restaurants. Like you might have one or two restaurants that'll have some live music, pay, some kid $50 to come in there and play for 3 hours. But yeah, there's no spots anymore that I could stop in.
Yeah. What did your first gig look like?
My very first gig, so my great uncle owns a bar.
Yep.
That's probably 75 years old now, and the bar is 75 years
Damn.
old. Yeah. So my great grandparents opened this bar back in the day, and so my great uncle runs it now. But it's called Walker's Drive-In, and
Where's it at?
it's literally probably 75 yards from my parents' house.
And it's still open.
Still open, yeah. You can stop by and get you a beer. They don't sell, or they don't pour liquor, but they have a liquor store on the other side of the bar, so you can go in there and buy you a pint or a fifth or whatever, and then you can bring it into the bar and then buy a canned Coke and get a cup, and you can mix your own drink in there. So
That sounds like a great deal to me.
yeah, there's pool tables in there. But that was my very first gig. I was playing with, our first official gig. I was playing with a little band, and we were pretty much just a 3-piece guitar set. And we would go in there, and I think I got my uncle to pay us like $50 or $100 or something like that. And we went in there and played one night, and our group name was the Interstate Cowboys. Something special. And so we went in there and we played, and we all didn't really know what we were doing at the time. We just went in there and just played some country music, and I think we all had our iPads sitting in front of us so we could see the words and the chords and all that stuff. You got like a bunch of goobers up there. But yeah, that was the first gig, and it was pretty great.
Playing covers.
Playing covers, yeah.
What songs were you playing?
Dude, we do some Beer for My Horses. We played the hell out of Freebird. Yeah, that Simple Man, all the classics. Some Alan Jackson in there. Had to do Luke Bryan.
Right.
Had to do that. Yeah, all that stuff. We did some. What's that? Gosh, I can't even think of it. Riptide or something like that. Like just something completely off.
Oh yeah, just like totally.
Yeah. Riptide. Something like that.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what the words were, but
Speaking of like Luke Bryan and all these Georgia guys, kind of been on a streak recently. Of artists coming out of Georgia,
yeah,
we got
there's a bunch of us.
I mean, there's a shit ton. It's wild. People don't really understand. I mean, like I kind of do just because like I'm in the music industry a little bit, but like there are so many artists from Georgia, like new and old. All right, I mean, you got Jason Aldean, you got Luke Bryan, right?
Yeah.
But then you got your older, like, who were some older guys?
Alan Jackson.
Okay.
I think Jerry Reed is from Georgia.
Then you got your new guys. You got Gavin Adcock. You got
Dylan.
Dylan,
Tyler, all those guys.
Justin Schools.
Yeah, that one guy, Justin Schools. Yeah, dude, I don't know. I was actually thinking about that the other day. I was like, I wonder, like, what was in the water whenever we were all coming up. Like, why Georgia?
Isn't it crazy?
It is kind of funny, you know.
Like, especially, like, I feel like it's mostly South. Like, what do you say? Most of these guys are from South Georgia.
Yeah,
like,
most all of them are from middle to south.
like Macon area, or you know, like
off the coast. You know, Savannah area, Statesboro.
Tyler Hubbard. He's from Georgia. Cole Swindell.
Yeah, Cole. That's right. I forgot about Cole.
You were in a Cole Swindell music video, weren't you?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I had a friend. Her name is Victoria, and she worked for the production staff. And so she was like, "Hey, we need some extras. You want to come in? It's $100, and you'll be there all day." And I was like, "Damn, I really need $100 right now, so I'll go do it." So I went in there, did it, and I introduced myself to Cole whenever he had a like off second. I was like, "Hey man, like I'm from South Georgia, doing the music thing over here. Like, just want to say it's great to meet you. Love your stuff." And he was like, "Oh, dude, man, yeah, we got, we'll keep up all this stuff." So, but yeah, Cole's a nice guy.
I feel like that's got to be pretty cool, especially kind of being from the same area and stuff, and put out basically, I mean, like same type of music, and being Braves fans, and I think you were wearing a Braves hat in that music video.
Absolutely.
Would you say you're a big Braves fan?
I would say so. Yeah. This year we're, we're on a wing and a prayer this year.
Yeah, I got my Tigers have been interesting to watch, to say the least. It's very up and down, more downs than ups.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've been there.
But dude, honestly, the first time this is probably a year ago now, I was out at the Braves stadium, and like they have like the full, like they got PBR and everything. Beautiful area, man.
Dude, yeah, the Battery's a nice place.
They killed that. And it, like, what I like about it is it's kind of outside of the city. It's not necessarily like right, downtown. It's beautiful.
It's a cleaner area too. I mean, the original Turner Field was, a very historic place. They had the 96 Olympics there, and a bunch of records broken in that stadium. And so it's now a football stadium for Georgia State College. But yeah, the new stadium, the Battery, that whole area, they've got the Coca-Cola Roxy right there. That's cool. It's a nice venue for music. I think I saw Co Wetzel there a couple summers ago. Yeah. Cool concert. Yeah. Do you go to a lot of games, like Braves games and stuff? I try to go whenever I can, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't go to any last year. I'm planning on doing some this year.
Cool. This is a question I like to ask artists. This is my first time asking it on this podcast specifically, but because most artists say no, and they're scared of doing it for multiple reasons. But you might be different. Would you ever sing the national anthem at a sports event?
Yeah, I probably would. I think I can do it.
Yeah. A lot of people are scared. Like, they're scared of messing up.
And I understand that. That's a lot of pressure. I mean, anybody who messes it up gets shit on.
Shit on.
So it's that's a lot of pressure, and I feel like I would do it. When I was a young kid, I would always what I would sing, running around the house. And my mom, there's a video of it somewhere, but I feel like that'd be a cool thing to do.
Yeah, that'd be cool for the Braves. Justice Schools.
That would be sick.
National anthem.
Yeah, that'd be a core memory for sure.
What's one of your coolest memories since moving here?
This is the first thing that just popped into my mind. I was at the Songwriters Hall of Fame gala a couple years ago. Yeah, and they were inducting David Lee Murphy, Kix Brooks, and a few other people. Anyways, they had like an intermission in between people, and I went to the restroom and was in line and heard a guy talking behind me, and turned around and it's Ronnie Dunn right behind me. And so I'm like, oh shit, that's pretty cool. About to go to the bathroom with Ronnie Dunn in here. And So we get in there, and there's a line, a bunch of guys in there waiting to go. And we get in there, and I'm next in line to use the urinal. And one opens up, and it's the short urinal. And I hear him talking to him. He's like, man, y'all got to hurry up, man. I got to get back in there. I can't be late. I got to give a speech or something. And I'm like, well, I said, Mr. Dunn, there's one open. You can go ahead in front of me. I don't have to go that bad.
I can hold it.
Yeah. And so, anyways, he looks at me and he says, son, I can't use that short one. I'll piss all over my boot. I said, well, all righty then. So I went ahead up there, used the restroom, and he come in there and peed beside me. I'm looking. He's a tall guy. And so we walk out of the bathroom, and I was like, well, Mr. John, I said, now that we've pissed beside each other, you reckon I can get a picture with you? And he said, well, I reckon we can manage that. So that was probably one of the funniest, coolest things that I think I've done in town.
Yeah. Well, it's cool. As much shit as you can talk about people in this town, right? There are some cool people, very down-to-earth people in this town, and some of these guys are your heroes, and some of these guys are your heroes you wish you never met.
Yeah.
Like what people said, it's wild.
Yeah. It's funny how that works.
I mean, going back to like what we said about egos earlier, right? Some of the biggest guys out there can be, the worst people, but at the same time, it's just everyone has a bad day.
Hey, I can attest to that for sure.
It's like we're all normal people, and that's why, I love country music is I feel like everyone's pretty normal for the most sense, It's like, you have your fake people, but for the most part, everyone's pretty like normal with their feelings, normal with like everyday people,
Yeah.
Would you say you're an everyday person?
I feel like that, yeah. Sometimes I know I can be an asshole. I know I can. I think it runs in my blood, but I feel like I'm an old man though.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a 65-year-old man in a 25-year-old's body. So, if I see kids running around, there's somebody walking down the sidewalk, texting on their phone and not looking up, and they like walk right into. Gosh, that stuff right there makes me mad.
So like all the stuff like our generation does.
Just imagine your grandpa complaining about the youth, and that's probably me.
Dude, honestly, I feel like you could probably say the same just hearing you talk about this stuff. But like, I feel like I was kind of that kid, but where I'd be sitting at like the adult table, just like listening to conversation instead of like going and playing with the kids. Always, like I always wanted to hear what the adults had to say or like what stuff they were, listening to, talking to, or whatever. It's I don't know. It's just kind of I feel like a trait I've always had. Would you say you kind of had that?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like I'm the same way. Just hanging out with older kids and listening to what all the older people had to say. I feel like I learned a lot from that coming up.
Yeah. What's some advice you would give artists moving to Nashville?
Be somebody you would want to have a beer with.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. Realistically speaking, and just looking at people who have become somebody, there are some people that have, I don't want to say no talent, but there's some people that have the talent like thereof, who are just nice people.
Yep.
And there's somebody's like, hey, you want to come hang out? And they're like, yeah, I'll come hang out with you.
Right.
That is the biggest thing. Nobody wants to hang out with somebody who's cocky. Nobody wants to hang out with an asshole, that kind of thing. Just be somebody you would want to drink a beer with.
Right. Be a good friend.
Be a great friend, yeah.
That's it.
If a friend needs your help with something and you can help them, help them.
Yeah, if a friend says, hey, meet me at the local for happy hour, we got cheap Busch Lights.
Go, dude. Gosh, the amount of $1 Busch Light drafts I've put down is very unhealthy.
You've played at the local a few times.
Yeah, I've spent a few nights at the local.
I love that place.
Golly, that place right there. I love the local. And at first, when I first started moving to town, I played a couple rounds there, and I really didn't like it. I was like, the rounds aren't that great here, whatever. It's not mine. I don't feel like this place is benefiting me.
Yeah.
Is what I saw. And within the last year, I'd probably say last August, sometime around right before football season, college football season started, a good buddy of mine, Davis Luce.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know Davis or not. But
Yep. You introduced me to him at the local.
Oh gosh, I don't remember that. That's funny.
It was actually you just got done with your set or something like that, and it was right before the happy hour or whatever was ending, and you said, "Give me 10 of those Busch Lights." Brother had a platter. You were holding it like a waiter.
That checks out. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't nothing for Davis and I to go in there and spend $30 on $1 beers.
Yeah, can't beat that.
Easy.
Cheaper than a case.
Dude, we would crawl out of there.
Yeah.
I mean, we really and our thing was when you order $1 Busch Light draft, they give it to you in a glass cup. But we know the bartenders in there, so we're like, hey, plastic cups. So we would take the plastic cups, and they would just give you a new plastic cup every time.
Yeah.
We would just stack them, and at the end of the night, we'd just see who had the more amount of cups in there.
Who would win?
Most of the time, it'd be pretty even. It'd be pretty even, and I love Irish goodbye.
Yeah.
And so I would just
too.
just disappear.
Yep.
And I'd get a call from Davis. Hey, where are you at? And I just don't answer.
Hey, you remember that Tower of Beers?
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah. The local, man. Great place.
Yeah.
Now they're $2 Busch Light drafts. They're not
okay.
$1, but
I'll still take it. Shout out Jeff over at the local, honestly. He brings in some great talent. They have some great music that comes in there, whether it's a writer's round or just your daily show. I kind of feel like it's kind of the new Midtown in a way.
Yeah, I really kind of feel like that too. I mean, Midtown is kind of becoming overrun with tourists now too.
Yeah.
So
you have Post Malone and Snoop Dogg stopping the Losers and Hardy shouting out Red Door to a bunch of people.
Now
it's
everybody's like,
it's going to turn into Broadway real quickly.
Yeah. Yep.
We got Old Dominion, Wetzel. They're putting in bars down there and stuff.
Yeah.
I still love the area. Don't get me wrong. I still love Losers. Still love Duck Blind. Red Door and stuff. But it's definitely not the same when we first walked into Nashville.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Yeah, obviously Losers or Winners isn't there anymore, and
yeah, I still, if I play around in there, and just like, hey, you ask everybody how they're doing before you start. It's like, hey, how's everybody doing today? It's like, I'm not gonna call this place, hey, how's Riley's Duck Blind doing today? Like, I'm still calling it Winners. I still do. Well, it looks exactly the same. Yeah, no,
it's cool though. I feel like it shows that you were there when it was Winners, so that's cool. They did a good job with that place, but at the same time, Winners was the shit. They had Whiskey Jam there, and
and that sucks too. They moved Whiskey Jam to Broadway. Nobody wants to go to Broadway, man.
Dude, don't get me started on that stuff, bro. It's like
that's crazy.
At the time, there were a lot of people upset when that first happened. People were just like, and I think people are still kind of upset just because when you show up to Dirks and stuff, it's not the best room, right?
Yeah, well, there's a damn pole right in the middle of the stage.
Yeah,
you can't see.
And I think the goal is for them to move into Luke Bryan's or Luke Combs.
That would make sense.
Category 10.
I know they do.
That was the goal.
What's the bus? They used to do it at Tin Roof on Broadway. It's a bus call.
Yeah.
Bus Call's doing theirs at Category 10 too. I know that.
Really?
Yeah, I saw that. They announced that probably a month ago.
So, I have no idea what's gonna happen because obviously, Whiskey Jam has that deal with Luke Combs going on the road with him, and that was the plan originally, was to just go into his bar after Dirks. But at the same time, there's sometimes they're not filling rooms at Dirks. Yeah. It's like,
how are you gonna fill that room?
Yeah, Category 10. That's a big ass room.
Yeah.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, he brings in some phenomenal artists, so he can do it. But on those off nights when
they don't have a name on the list, they have 5 people who are just up and coming. So it's like nobody's gonna spend all the money to go down there. I mean, they're gonna wind up paying $40 in parking and all that stuff. So it's just kind of.
Yeah, you've played Whiskey Jam, right?
No, I've never played it.
Never played it.
Never played it. Never played. Only like live band thing I think I've ever played is Raised Rowdies. That's it.
That's sick. How was that?
It's fun, man. Yeah. I enjoy it. I haven't played full band since I was in college.
Yeah, I love those Raised Rowdy guys. They're
Nick
cool.
and Matt are great people.
So, like, when you're doing your full band stuff, are you just throwing a band together that, it's a few guys in town, or you using a band that you have from, way back when?
Pretty much just using some buddies around town that I know and have come to know. And I think now we're trying to nail down a solid group to continuously use. Just because doing the artist thing now, I think we'll have some stuff coming up in the future that we're going to need a group for. So just trying to nail that down right now.
So you got more shows coming along this year? That's kind of the plan?
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
We have some things in the works right now that are going to be cool. So super excited about what's to come.
You got more music coming out soon?
Got more music coming out soon.
Damn, that's exciting.
Yep.
And any release dates you can drop, or are you going to hold those in?
I don't have any release dates just yet.
Yeah.
But we do have more music coming this year. And I'm super excited about it. Their songs are great, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I'm super happy about it.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Justin, I'm a huge fan of your music, my man, and I appreciate you popping on the pod. It's been a good one.
Dude, thanks for having me, man.
Go check out Justin Schools on all platforms. Go check out his content. He works really hard on it. It's impressive. I like it. Instagram, Spotify, Apple Music, you name it.
All of it.
Anything else you want to plug?
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs!